I'm Emma, and welcome to the second episode of the Worsted Willow Podcast. I'm a knitter and crocheter, and I'll be using this space to share all of my making-related things. You can also find me at Ravelry and Instagram at Worsted Willow. I try to keep up with my projects there and post any notes and photos that I take of the projects while in progress and when they're finished. I'll also list everything I talk about in this podcast down in the description box down below. So as I mentioned last week, I'll be following the general format I've seen for knitting podcasts. So FOs, whips, acquisitions, and other life things. So we'll just get right into it. I'll start with what I'm wearing. I finished this early August, I believe, so not quite an FO for this podcast, but fairly recent FO still. I recently posted it on my Instagram, and that is the Wild Mint Tee by Drops Design. I'll show. So this is a t-shirt that I knitted up. I wanted to have something. I knitted a different t-shirt earlier on in the summer, but it was made with wool, and so it was a little bit too hot this summer to wear it here in the Midwest, so I wanted something that had more of a cotton base to it so I could wear it more easily while it was warmer out and I wasn't like sweating buckets. So this was knit with the Premier Cotton Fair yarn, which is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, so a very good balance and very easy to take care of. So it's nice. It's a very good everyday t-shirt, and it's in the color slate gray. I did realize after I posted my FOs last week and had this shirt as one of the most recent ones that I had 3 gray shirts in a row, which was not on purpose, but I guess you can say that we really like gray in this household. So this is my Wild Mint Tee. I do love how it turned out. I did not enjoy knitting it up as much as I enjoy knitting color work. So this, you can see this has some cabling, and there's also these little holes throughout it in the cables. So there's very slight lace work, and then the cables do go down the side of the body. And I'm not a super big fan of cables, at least this is the only project I've used them for, so I can't say for sure that I'm not, but was not my favorite to work with so far. I think part of it was also that these cables were single stitch cables, and the yarn, since it wasn't a wool base, wasn't very sticky, so I had a lot of drop stitches that I had to fix, and taking one stitch off onto a cable needle and then changing it over right after was very, very tedious, especially when you're working it for the whole yoke like this. It wasn't as bad on the side of the body since it was just one little strip, but when you're working an entire yoke in single stitch cables in a cotton yarn, it was not that enjoyable. That being said, I do wear this all the time. Not as much now that it's getting cooler out, but it's such an easy shirt to throw on and such a basic color that I can pretty much wear it with anything. So it does get a ton of use out of it. So that's my Wild Mint Tee. Let's just jump right into FOs. So I have one FO. We did a lot of traveling this weekend, and I always had the intention to do a ton of knitting in the car, and then so some stressful driving and a lot of driving at night, so I didn't have light, so I didn't get as much knitting done as I wanted to. Actually, I think most of the knitting I did was actually at the wedding we went to, but that is the Musselburgh I showed last week. So it's finished. I did knit this one shorter. I did it in DK weight, so I didn't have a ton of yarn. And then also it's for my dad, and I had made one last year for myself that also was shorter, so it didn't do the fold. And my dad tried it on, loved how it fit exactly as I made mine. So that's just what I was going off for this one. So you can see here, I was about halfway last time. So I knit a little bit over half and woven the ends. I still need to block it, but other than that, it's finished and ready to go, which is great because I have to give it to my dad this weekend. So I need to take final photos of it and post it on Ravelry. But other than that, it is good to go. Super happy with how it turned out. I actually really like how the decay weight feels. I think the only thing that would be slightly annoying is not being able to get the length for the folded brim. I had about 20 grams left, so I'm not sure if that would have been enough to get to a full 2-inch folded brim if I could have gotten 4 more inches out of that one. Something I definitely want to try in the future, but I could also make a slouchier version as well. So, but the decay is much thicker feeling when I wear it, and it's really warm, so I think not having the folded with it is still very nice. Yeah, it also worked up insanely fast compared to the fingering weight Musselburgh. So I definitely might do more of these because it's really easy to find 100% wool DK weight yarn. So yeah, that's my one and only FO for this week. I honestly didn't expect to have any other ones with the MKAL starting and my other project being a little bit bigger. I'll probably even start another Musselburgh this weekend because I do have more travel coming up. But yeah, so that's my FO for the week. I'm hoping to maybe have another Musselburgh next week. Probably not, because I am already behind in the MKAL, which brings us to whips. I'm already behind in the MKAL. I'm filming this on Thursday, so Clue 2 just released. And I am still wrapping up Clue 1. I have not started Clue 2 yet. I tried to get to it, and I did bring it with when I traveled, but I just did not really work on it this weekend at all, which is a lot of my knitting time. So I have been knitting furiously on it the last couple days, but not quite enough to catch up last night, which is fine. I'm fine being a little behind. Clue 1 was a lot of knitting. I have already looked at Clue 2, and it does look like I'll be able to hopefully catch up this next week, or at least not fall any more behind than I'm already going to be. I should finish Clue 1 either tonight or tomorrow morning. So this will be my spoiler point because I will bring out my MKAL project right now. So if you don't want to see it, I'll put a timestamp down below and you can skip to that. I'll also put a little breaker image in between, but I'm bringing it out now. So if you don't want to see it, skip forward. So I'll show my yarn again first. So I'm using 2 yarns from Less Traveled and 1 yarn from Northern Bee. My main color is Northern Bee in Wine on the Dock. So it's a very nice dark purple red color. And this one is an 80-20 2-ply yarn. So it's a little bit more plush than my other 2 yarns, but I kind of like, with how the texture is turning out, I kind of like it. This was going to be my contrast color, but then when I was watching the video, Stephen West had told everyone that the darker color is better for the main color because of some portions coming on later in the shawl. So I switched to my main color being this one, and I really like how it's turning out because the bind off and cast off is also in this color, and I think it's a very good edging color. And then my contrast color now is this one I believe this one is the Winslow. This is Less Traveled yarn in the 757 base, so it's a 75-25 merino nylon blend, and it's a 4-ply. So this one's more of a classic sock yarn, and this is now my contrast color. So all of my textured components that he was hinting at is going to be in this color. And then my contrast color or my accent color, which I haven't gotten to use yet, is this orange, also from Less Traveled in the same base, and it is in Sedona. So, like I said, I looked at Clue 2. I do get to use this into Clue 2, and I'm very excited to start adding this into the shawl because I think this is going to look so pretty. Yeah, so now for where my shawl is at currently, I think I have 3 or 4 repeats left, so this is where it's at. And I'm very happy with how it's looking. I really like how these colors are coming together. Oh, that blew it out. But yeah, there's almost like this dark purple in parts of the contrast color, so it kind of blends it together a little bit. It's a little less stark, but there's still enough contrast that the striping is very, very visible. And as you can see, there is some of that orange color in here as well, so that orange is going to get tied in really nicely. Yeah, I did start it right away on Thursday morning, and was exhausted just looking at the cast on instructions and then getting to the repeat and realizing all the casting on and binding off that was going to be happening. So it definitely was a slog for a little bit. I think the braiding technique is really interesting. I actually almost did a crochet blanket that did this same technique of making a bunch of little like chains and pulling them through each other. It was actually going to be out of this yarn, just a big Brene blanket tweed yarn. And I had started it, and I really hated chaining a bunch of times and then having to work into those chains a bunch of times. I think it's a little bit easier with knitting, just because, I don't know, working through a chain and Brene blanket yarn is not a fun time. So this is also not super fun to be casting on and binding off all the time, but I have gotten a lot quicker with it, and with the cable casts on, the stitches are so easy to work into, so it hasn't been that bad. I did count my stitches, and I hadn't been counting my stitches for a while, and I am a little bit off just on this first section. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm about 4 stitches off right on this one, which is right after the start of the right side row. So I think I just was missing my increases somewhere or decreasing wrong on this first decrease. Because literally the entire rest of the shawl is fine. It's just this one little half section right here. So I'm going to do an extra increase on the wrong side for every of my main color rows on the wrong side, since that's a normal knit stitch on the back, so I can do the normal pick up a stitch and it will be fine. It'll look like a purl on the back and look like the knits next to it from the back side, and that'll hopefully also stagger them a little bit more so it's not like shooting off to the side because I increased too quickly. So I have, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the contrast, and you end with 14. So I'm at 4 total repeats left, which is not too bad, considering I think on Tuesday I was at like 5 contrast rows. So I have knit a whole bunch since Tuesday, and so in the last couple days, and obviously this has been an entire week's worth of knitting. So that is my MKAL. I'm a little iffy on it so far. Not that I don't like it, especially looking at where Clue 2 goes, but I also don't dislike it, and I think I'll like it more in my colors. And I'm kind of just trusting the process. I've never done an MKAL before. I just have seen the last couple of years. And so I'm trusting the process, seeing how it goes. And it's a very different construction than I was anticipating. So I haven't made like this big crescent shaped shawl before. And I've only made triangle shawls. I've only crocheted triangle shawls. So this is just like all new experiences to me. I'm very excited, even if I don't like 100% love the design. I'm very excited for how it's going to turn out, and I know even if it's not exactly my style, it will be a beautiful piece, and potentially someone else will love it. So, but I'll probably still wear it. I'll probably make it work for my style. But yeah, that's my MKAL. Like I said, I'm going to probably just sit and knit on it all evening and hopefully get caught up. If not, probably tomorrow morning is when I'll get caught up, and then start Clue 2 tomorrow afternoon. So, and then I'll be traveling all day Saturday, so I won't really have it with me. I'll probably cast on another Musselburgh, like I said, and work on that while I'm traveling, just because it's starting to get really big and heavy to like carry around, and then also the rows are really long, so it's hard to like start and stop. I'd rather work on it at home when I can, pause or like finish the row before moving on, or come back to it really quickly, not leaving it in a bag with the row unfinished. So this is more of an at-home project, especially now, and I need to get a different project for on the go. I only have one other whip currently, and that is one I showed last week. I did a little bit. Once I finished the Musselburgh in the car, I started working on this, and that is my Unity. So, this is the Unity by Charissa Lam, and I've done a decent amount. I think I had just split for the sleeves and done the short rows, and now I'm at about 2 to 3 inches of the body. I've started doing the body decreasing, which is right along the middle of the armpit, so these ribbing rows will kind of pinch in together. Yeah, I still haven't tried it on. I want to get probably one more decrease in before I do. I think it'll fit really well though, especially because it's meant to kind of stretch out a little bit. And this isn't a wool yarn, so I'm not too worried about it stretching a lot when I block it. This is 100% acrylic. The yarn is Loops and Threads Wool-like, so it's Michael's brand, and it's 100% acrylic. It's a fingering weight. It's got 700 yards to the ball, which is insane. So I should be able to get the entire shirt out of this one ball of yarn, and I have 6 or 7 other colors if I decide I really like this shirt to make some other ones. But yeah, I have done one decrease so far. Super easy, you just decrease on the middles like I said, and hopefully I won't go past the start of my round, because the start of my round is right by my sleeve. And the body will have, I think, about 10 inches total, and I'm sitting at about 3. So this is a really good one because it's worked in broken rib, so I don't really have to think about it too much because every other row is just knit row. So it's been going pretty quickly, and I could work on it in the car pretty easily. Not too much to say about this one. Like I said, I didn't get too far into it, but I am really liking how it turned out. I want it to be more of a casual work shirt, kind of like this Wild Mint, but a little bit dressier, a little bit more businessy than the Wild Mint. Because I think the Wild Mint I can wear more out to a park or more casually, and then this one I imagine more with business pants or nicer boots and stuff, or a nicer jacket. Yeah, that's my other whip. I really didn't have too much knitting this week, but I really wanted, since this is episode 2, I wanted to try to stay consistent, and my goal really is to do weekly podcasts. So even though I just had a little bit of knitting to show, I still wanted to share it, and just start getting into that routine of filming and sharing projects. I do have a couple of acquisitions though. So we went to, I guess this kind of goes into life a little bit, But we went to a wedding this past weekend up in Minneapolis area, and we were going to a coffee shop and had a bunch of time to kill, so I was like, we were in like a small town, but I was like, you know what, this town kind of feels like it would have a yarn shop. So I looked at my phone while we were looking at coffee shops, and literally across the street from where we parked there was a yarn store. So we went in, and she was great. She dyed her own yarn there, so both yarns I got were from her, and that is MUSE2320 Fiber Company in Hastings, Minnesota. So I got 2 yarns. This first one is on her Fat Finch base, which is a single ply 100% super merino fingering weight yarn. So it's really, really plush. I have a few yarns that are in this base, and to be honest, I don't know what to do with them. I have some leftover ones from like a sock. The socks have kind of worn a hole in like the ball of the foot, so not good sock yarn. That was the first pair of socks I made, and I really didn't know about fiber content yet, so I'm learning. Not good sock yarn. And then I have the contrast yarn I had gotten for that as well. And I have this one that's also a single ply. I was thinking of doing something with all 3 of these together. I kind of have a pattern thought out for that one. But I don't know too much of what to do with just like a single skein of 100% merino single ply. So if you have any ideas, leave a comment below. If you have any patterns that you've done, that would be really good. I was thinking like a t-shirt or a tank top, but I haven't found too much, and now it's kind of getting out of that season, so not really sure, but I just love this color. Oh, the colorway is also called Ramps and Morels, so it's like mushroom foraging themed, and I just think it's so pretty, so fall, and I'm in love with it. So that's the first yarn I got. And then the second yarn is actually going to be for a project for my mom, and this is it here. It's on the Sandpiper base, which is a fingering weight tweed. I don't think I've really seen too many fingering weight tweeds around, so that was pretty exciting. I'm going to make her, she asked for a beret because she's going to be visiting Europe, and she wanted a beret for wearing fashionably while it's cold. So this is 85% superwash blueface Leicester and 15% NEP, which I assume is the little tweed bits. So, and it's in the color stone, so it's very pretty. I really like the gray, brown, and black, or the brown, cream, and black speckles in the gray. I think it's really pretty, and I already found the pattern. There was a pearl beret by Pearl Soho that looks just like a pretty classic beret. I was looking at some that had more texture on it, but I think with the tweed and everything, I think just a plain stockinette beret is going to be really, really pretty. And it'll kind of match everything, which will be very nice. So, yeah, that was the 2 yarns I got. I think I did pretty good. There was like a million yarns I wanted to buy there, but I don't even know. I have space to put them, but I don't know what I would use them for, and I'm trying not to buy too much yarn unless I have a project lined up for it. So yeah, but definitely recommend, if you're in the Minneapolis area, checking her out. She had a lot of fun stuff in there, and it looked like an old post office. Some of the yarn was in like old mailbox sorting bins, which was really cool. But yeah, that's it for knitting. I have like very short life stuff. It was kind of hectic. The wedding took up the entire weekend, the wedding and traveling, so didn't do too much else. But yeah, so life stuff. Obviously, we were at a friend's wedding. It was a college friend that I think I've only seen like once or twice since graduating, so that was really exciting. and we got to hang out with him a lot. So me and my fiance went to college together, and we were both friends with the groom. So it was really nice. We got to talk and hang out more than I expected to, because you never know with weddings how much you're going to be able to interact with the people actually in the wedding. So it was really nice that he got to talk a lot to us and we got to catch up. Obviously, we're also wedding planning, so it was kind of interesting going and thinking of our own planning and what we want to see for ours. It was also the first wedding we went to that didn't have any sort of family connection and no family with us, so that was pretty fun. We kind of only knew 2 or 3 people at the wedding. Well, 3 people. We knew the bride and groom, and then we knew one other person from college. So that was interesting. We didn't really know anyone, and it was a very different vibe than, knowing half of who's at the wedding. And then that took up all the weekend. We literally left on Friday, got back Sunday night. So it was a pretty long weekend. We did a lot of stopping on the way. We did do some hiking up in northern Wisconsin, and we stopped at an apple orchard. We stopped at Ferguson's apple orchard, which is apparently rated the best in Wisconsin. It was very hectic there. They have a ton of fall activities for kids, so you had to pay to go into the main portion of it, which we didn't do because we were driving. We just hiked, but we did stop at the store and buy apple cider donuts and a bag of apples because that was the main thing I wanted anyways. And then we also stopped at a state park and saw a waterfall, did some hiking. It was pretty much just probably half a mile downhill and then half a mile back uphill. Not my favorite type of hike, but it was really nice to go hiking because I haven't gone in a while. I did a lot of hiking in high school. I haven't done so much now. Yeah, and then we stopped at a few other stores on the way down. No other yarn stores. We play a lot of board games though, so we were stopping at board game stores and trying to see what was in the area. And yeah, it was just really good, and we had a fun time. And then this weekend, I have a little bit of travel coming up as well, visiting family. So going to visit my sister and my dad for my dad's birthday and bringing my hat that I made. And then also I'm doing a donut tasting tour on Sunday with a friend, which will be really fun. So I have a few things going on this weekend, but I'm also just kind of hoping to lay low on the days I can and get a lot of knitting done and kind of rest from busy work week and travel last weekend. So I'll pretty much only be traveling Saturday this weekend, which will be really nice. Yeah, I think that's all I have for this week. Like I said, it's kind of less knitting than I would normally have since I was out, but I am going to try to do weekly going forward, so look forward to that. And I leave a comment on what you think I should make with this yarn. If you have any good single ply patterns, that would be amazing. For one skein, this is just over 400 yards, so pretty standard fingering weight skein. And leave a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see when I post my next one. And thank you for watching.